Lee, I want to just first kind of ask you a kind of a larger question about songwriting. Songwriting is such a fascinating thing. When people ask me about like Nashville, I tell them people don't realize like it is the songwriters that they're the straw that stirs the drink. When you're doing a song, when you're working on a song, whether it's by yourself or with some other guys or gals, do you have a do you have a sense of when you guys are writing you have something special? Or for you, I've heard other artists say we really never know. How do you view that?
I mean, I think there's always a kind of I know kind of a deal. You know, I know I I have a feeling at least that this song's got a factor to it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's uh, well, this song is really gonna be kind of a hit factor song, or man, this song is just gonna be one that if it can crack through, it will be the biggest thing ever. Now, if it doesn't crack through, nobody will ever hear it. But it doesn't matter because if the song's really special, if you're a real songwriter, sometimes you don't really care. Like you're writing it because you're a songwriter, because you love to do it, you know? And so obviously we want it to have a home, you know, whether it's say I record it or another artist records it. We want that. We want ears to hear it all over the world. But there's something about being a songwriter. You just gotta write the song. Like you can't not do it. You know, if you get an idea and it's like all over you. I remember I was like 10, 11, 12, 14, 15 years old, and I'd be on the way to school, or like we need to be running out the door to go to church or something, and I'd be like, "Sorry, I can't go. I got this song idea," and I'm like in the bathroom writing a song. So you write songs, you know, obviously for the things that you think you write songs for, but really you write them for yourself. You just got to get them out of you.
Yeah, I've heard other writers talk about it's like an itch that has to be scratched. You know, it has
Yes.
to get out of your head. If it's not written down, it just bugs
Yes.
you,
Yeah,
and you have
even
to
if
finish the
honestly,
thought.
yeah, even if it's honestly in a write and a co-write, sometimes a lot of times I'll go, guys, listen, I know for a fact this isn't right. The idea, say about to come up with or like send to somebody, like if we're writing a song, but I got to get out of my head so I can move to the next thought, you know, and I'll just say it, even if I know it's not right. I need to get this crap idea out of my head so that I can move on.
Do you know if it's not for you? Do you have an artist, a voice, a style in mind when you're writing a song? How quickly, if at all, when does that come to you?
Well, I mean, you know, I can kind of do that just because I'm a very man, I've listened to all kind of music my whole life. You know, I mean, my mama's music was different than my daddy's music, and then they both listened to gospel, and then they both had their pop stars or their country stars or their whatever growing up. And so I had the same thing, you know, everything from John Mayer to Coldplay to, you know, Bone Thugs and Harmony to Tupac to, you know, to Brian McKnight and Boys and Men, you know, right back around to Alabama and Kenny Rogers and, you know, Garth Brooks and so I've got a huge array of music that I listen to. And so and then obviously the country music artists that I grew up listening to. So when I'm writing a song, it at least has a feel. Like
Mm.
say it feels like Kenny Chesney, right? And I grew up listening to Chesney or McGraw. Like, man, this is a Chesney type of thing. And so a lot of times I'll go down that road, not necessarily pitch it to him, which I mean, I do pitch stuff to him, you know,
Sure.
but if it's down that road, it gives me sort of a target, you know? You're like, all right, Chesney would do this because we're already on this road, kind of going down this road. Say it's a whatever, blue chair or beach song, you know, or barefooted, you know, whatever it may be, you know. He it'll go, well, let's go down that road because that road might not end it with Chesney. There might be a new artist that's out that wants to go down that road. That might be a song that I want to record on because my records are very diverse. You know, they'll
Hmm.
go from a Chesney song to a Tupac song. You know, who knows? You know what I mean? But yeah, I kind of know that, and I have actually gone for some rights before, like legitimately said, "Man, we want to." McGraw's looking right now. He's looking hard. He's about to record in a month. Let's record some, or Aldine, or or for myself, really, do the same thing. But a lot of times I'll hear it with another artist, um, but it's not necessarily a pitch. It's just kind of like stay down that lane because those lanes are pretty clear.
You mentioned Garth Brooks. I mean, more than a memory, obviously. Just that'd be a highlight for anybody.
Yeah.
When you found out he was going to cut it, I mean, what went through your mind?
Well, I was going through an airport, um, and I put my backpack on the little basket thing that's about to go through and it was early. It was like 5:30 in the morning, and I'd been up till 2 working, and I just didn't want to answer my phone. But my phone is ringing as I'm about to go through security, and I answered the phone, and it was, I said, hello, hello, hello. Hey, Lee, this is Garth. And I went, Garth, who? Like, I've never heard of another Garth other than like Dumb and Dumber or something. But I was like, Garth, who? He said, what's Garth Brooks? And Lee, I said, Garth, I gotta hang up. I gotta hang up. I'm so sorry. Like my hero, right? So I had to hang up on Garth, put my phone in the basket, let it go through the metal detector thing. And then I picked it up on, and I will say, I don't understand why I did it to this day, but I remember just as soon as I hung up the phone, I kind of looked around the whole airport. And I went, Garth Brooks just called me. I mean, just yelling it out to the public, and they're going, huh? You know? So I picked up the phone on the other side, and I called the number back, and he goes, hey, I said, Garth, I'm so sorry I had to hang up the phone. But, he goes, well, Lee, here's the deal. I heard this song you wrote, and he said, I know it's very special to you, and you're just starting your career out. So I'll understand if like this is gonna be one of your singles because it would be one of mine if I was you. He said, but I just wanted to know where you're at with it, and would you mind if I recorded it? And he said, because I want to record it, but just so you know, I don't just want to record it. I want to record it, and I want to put it as a single, and I don't just want to put it as a single. I want to put it as a single, like next week.
So he knew.
He said, Lee, this is going to be the song that's going to bring me back to out of retirement. I was like, he goes, I'll let you know. I'll let you hear it, you know, so that you approve of it. I said, Garth, you've sold 200 million records. I'm pretty sure you understand how to record a song. So yeah, I just was blown away, it was a special song to me, and I was going to put it out myself, but it was my literal hero calling me on the phone at 5:30 in the morning going through the airport.
And you hung up on him.
And I had to hang up on him.
So you don't have to get specific with names, but as a songwriter, and I want to ask you about, you as an artist, of course, but the songwriting just is such a fascinating element to me. Do you ever have a song where you write it, it gets cut, it's not what you thought, and you don't feel like this is really doing it justice? Everybody, I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but you're just like, this is not doing it justice. Do you have those conversations with the record company or with management? Do you kind of let an artist do what they do? Like, how does that work? Because I know these songs, I mean, they're like your babies on these things. So how do you deal with that?
Well, first of all, it's hard enough to record a song. Say I wrote a song for me, and like I'm doing it right this second. I'm finishing a couple of songs on my album that's going to have 32 songs on it in October. Okay. And I'm doing my best to record exactly what I want to hear for me. Right. And so, yes, I have learned, yes, and I have had a few songs, that I got cut by other folks, but I kind of had to just accept the fact that they're going to record it how they want to record it. And because there was a couple times I was like, oh man, it didn't. They're like, you want to hear it again? I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna go on head over here and go, go write another song, even with some big artists. But through those times and through those cuts, I've learned again as an artist myself, you know, who knows? I might have recorded because I've recorded a lot of songs outside songs. I drive your truck, drinking class, and I beat myself up to try to get drinking class to sound as cool as the work tape demo that they did. Um, and so, yeah, I don't deal with it anymore in my head because I've learned that everybody's got their ear. Everybody's got their own way they want to do something, including myself. So I'm like, if I can barely get it to sound how I want it for myself, then how am I supposed to think that somebody else is going to record it perfectly the way I would hear it for them? And they're not even me. So I gave up on that a long time ago, and I'm just appreciative. Um, I really am appreciative that any artist would put their career on the line for a minute, with a song that I wrote. I'm very just honored, honestly.
So it can be a pretty sweet gig. I mean, when you become a known songwriter, you can enjoy Nashville, and you don't have to be out on the road. And you've done the 250 shows a year thing, and you've been a grinder. I mean, was there ever a point where you were thinking, maybe I like this songwriting thing, and to put yourself out there as an artist and everything that comes along with that? I mean, it's cool being on stage and people cheering for you, but being a songwriter, I mean, other artists have said that was an interesting decision for you. How was that decision, putting yourself out there, jumping into being the artist and being the face of the thing?
Well, I was always that was my first goal. I mean, a lot of people kind of confuse. Well, you were a songwriter first, and then you became an artist. No, I was always wanted to be an artist. I just happened to get a few cuts on my way through. You know what I mean? And I've been writing since I was 10 years old and singing. It was all and producing, and playing. Like it's all the same thing to me. Now, fast forward to now. I mean, I love being able to sing a song live on the stage. I love to run around. I love to have that connection with the crowd. But I also can tell you this right now: there is no better job than what when I was just getting up every day, going, I'm going to write a song, and that's all I'm going to do today. It's the best job in the whole world. And you know, my kids are getting to an age now, I don't know that I'm ever going to retire off the road, but I can tell you, I'm trying to do less and less shows. Um, just because I want to be home and focus on that and enjoy life a little bit instead of just being like today. I leave actually at about an hour. I'll be driving across town to go get on the bus. Um, But writing songs, just being a songwriter, I don't know that anybody would ever quit that job, ever. It's the best job in the world. You make your own hours, you wake up when you want to, and you write a song. It's like, it's the best.
So 250 plus shows in a year. I mean, how do you back in the day? How did you bring the energy? I mean, you got a little note card in front of you in which city you're in. I mean, how were you doing that?
Man, that was honestly, that was pretty easy. I
Really?
say that. I mean, I say that. I just mean when you're 25, 30, you know, 35, you're still young. You could still just knock that out. You don't have, I didn't have a bunch. I mean, I had a baby, I had like babies that didn't know the difference if I was gone or not. I could probably go do that now because I got a bus and you have downtime during the day. Now I turn mine into a studio so I can work during the day so I don't have to work when I get home. But if you're just out there playing shows, you got downtime to rest. Okay. You have that time to do that. So you really can do it. Um, if you love it, you know, you got to love it though. There's a lot of people get out there on that road and they go, this ain't, I just thought you could just sing a song on the radio and just be a star. And I'm like, well, you have to do all the other stuff too. There's a lot of people who actually get out there, they get a chance and they go, I don't want to do this because it ain't for the faint of heart. I can tell you that.
A few more for you, Lee. This is really generous with your time. You have songs that are so different. You referenced this a little bit earlier. I mean, you take a song like "Drinking Class" to "Parking Lot Party," which is such a, I mean, that for Midwest folks, we love,
Oh yeah.
we
Oh,
love a parking lot party. All these different songs, and when you're out on stage doing that, I mean, you've got such a nice set list. How do you work a set list year to year to make sure that you're bringing the ups and then those slower moments? Because you have such a variety of songs.
yeah. I do like to, I love that you kind of see. I always try to make it a roller coaster. I want people to, because I just went to a concert the other night. I won't even say the name of it, but huge rock band. Classic rock band. But as I'm watching the show, I mean, I was like, gosh, singing the same melody over every song, basically. And so, in other words, after a minute, it gets old. And I never want that to happen. Like I just saw that same song, the last song, and the song before, and the song before. So that's why I make these records. It's not just my set list. My set list, I have to cut a few number ones off because I can only get so many in on a 90-minute set.
That's
But
tough for us as fans, though. I mean, we got that one song that we're just waiting for, and when
you're
it
like,
doesn't go on, it's tough.
why didn't he play Woman Like You? But you know, I actually make those set lists kind of like I would make my say I was making a 12 song record. All of them I need to be different. I don't need them to be the same song that I just played. I'm not the kind of artist that all my songs sort of are in the exact same realm. Now, a lot of people will go, well, Lee, you're a thread through all those songs, your voice and how you sing and your whatever, your emote or whatever. But I purposely really do try because I just enjoy all kinds of music. I enjoy everything from pop to rock to blues to rap to country, stone cold country to, there's a million things we can go down, coffee shop. I mean, you just name it. As long as it's good music, I'm trying to make records that flow like that too, that let you don't get bored. And so that's really how I do my show. And sometimes you're like, hey, we got a private show. They only want you to play 45 minutes. So I got to cut like 8 songs or 9 songs off the list that people want to hear. But it kind of depends on the crowd that's out there. I'll look and go, all right, what kind of crowd we got today? Is this a drunk, rowdy redneck crowd, or is this a bunch of old people that are in a theater that really are here to just see a beautiful show? It kind of all depends on the crowd.
That's going to be the Genesee Theater in Waukegan. You got that coming up Friday, June 5th. Our listeners are so excited for it. I was talking with Trace Atkins a couple years ago, who was going to play the same venue, and he said there is something special about the evening with. He said, as great as the huge stages are and all that, he said when it's a little more intimate, you can see the people. It's not just bright lights. He said there is something that is irreplaceable. As a guy who, writer, as a guy who came up in Nashville, how neat is it for you to play a venue like the Genesee?
It's awesome. In fact, the last 3 years I've done a thing called You, Me, and My Guitar. And it's literally myself alone. But I got about 15 guitars up there and a piano. And I've got like 3 spots that I walk through and go meander around and tell the story of my life and my musical life. And when he talked about being able to talk to somebody in the crowd, I mean, I have conversations with people out there. It is you're almost naked up there. You're like, I mean, I'm the most vulnerable. Like all of my heart is all over my sleeve. There ain't nothing to hide. And there is something that can, nothing can touch that. It's one thing to get up with the band and I can rock through a show. Everybody's screaming, lights are blaring. But it's another to do an evening with, to do a theater that people are there to listen. And it is special. He is right. And we don't get to do it all the time, because, let's just say 8 times out of 10, people want to hear you come out and rock out with a band. But the cool venues like this are very special to us and to me. Because I grew up playing my guitar in my bathroom or on my staircase in my mom and daddy's house, writing songs and singing to myself, looking in the mirror, thinking, one day I'm gonna be on a stage just looking at you in your eyeballs. You know what I mean? And so it is special, and we can't wait to get there.
Last question. You're a guy, I mean, country listeners really respect you, your opinion. They would say you're legit. There's so many listeners that we have messages now, and they're like, that's not country. That song you guys just played. What do you say to those listeners? Because I respect their opinion, and they're coming from an era of Garth, but even Garth was getting, people, looking back in the day. So what do you say to these listeners? Because when I try to encourage them to be embracing of the different sounds, that's just me. But from a guy like Lee Brice, I mean, what do you say to these listeners?
Well, I mean, you can bring up Garth Brooks, and I mean, Hank Jr. just cussed Garth Brooks and said, "I ain't country," blah 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 blah. That's been happening ever since country music was country music. And the truth is, it's become more and more pop. I mean, Johnny Cash and Waylon and them, they weren't even country; they were rock and roll at the time. They were rock and roll. I mean, Johnny Cash was hanging out with Elvis. He was the most pop star there was. The deal is, to me, right in today's like music, country music, thank goodness. It's probably the biggest genre in the whole world right now. And the reason for that is it's country music. And so no matter what the music of it sounds like, it's always telling a story. It's giving you some pictures. It's not just saying a bunch of stuff. It's giving you pictures. But I've always said this to people who kind of naysay about the genre thing or like this ain't country. Man, what country has now is genres in itself. So
Yeah.
there's like pop country, there's blues country, there's rock country, like Jason Aldean. You could say that ain't country because there ain't. Jason Aldean 30 years ago would have been on a classic rock station, not a country station. And I never agree with that. Or you might have somebody like Stapleton singing soul music that would have never been on a country station. And so if you don't think it's country, that's fine. Go listen to the next radio station, and you're going to hear something that sounds like what's on the country station too. Because, and that long story short, I feel like country now has genres of itself. There's multiple genres in country music, and it's kind of becoming pop music. It's just popular. And pop, when people say pop, they don't realize they think it's, just Britney Spears or pop
Fluffy,
music.
yeah.
And no, pop means popular, the most popular music in the world. And there are genres in it. And look, there's still that stone cold country, and there's classic country, and but there's a lot of them. And so I appreciate that very much, because I got a lot of songs that are like not stone cold country at all, but I grew up listening to nothing but Alabama and George Strait and I'm saying, it's like and Randy Travis and Kenny Rogers. So I know what country is, but I'm also myself, and I want to do what I want to do, and we should be able to as musicians.